We've come a long way, and now is the time to share something personal about me that I have not been talking about at all on this channel. This might come as a complete shock to you. Hello and welcome to Anna with Plants. My name is Anastasia. Thank you so much for joining me for today's video. As you can see, I am surrounded by monstera and some phyllos because we are going to be changing up the plants that I show a little bit on this channel, and we are going to be giving some plants other than hoya and anthurium some TLC. These are the four that I want to focus on today. The theme for today is basically I want to share some channels, shows, songs, books that just make me feel better or change my outlook on life. I originally compiled this list of things that I love and that just cheer me up, basically in the throes of my seasonal depression in January. These things just really help kind of pull me through it, and I hope at least one person who watches this finds some value in it. Sometimes we just need to feel a little bit better, and these are the things that do it for me. I am going to introduce all of these plants to you, and then we're just gonna get into the chores. I'm gonna start with this one since the aerial root you can't see, but now you can see. Look at this long aerial root. This is quite hilarious how long it is. This is my mint monstera. I'm pretty sure this is a tissue culture. A lot of them hitting the markets right now are tissue culture. It originally started out pretty variegated. This one is like pretty much almost all variegated, but then now we kind of are losing the variegation slightly. This is the newest leaf on it here, and as you can see, it has some splashes, but it's mostly green. I kind of debated on if I should chop it or not. Oh, I should also mention to you, this is the large form monstera. I can just tell because the internodal spacing is quite compact and it is sizing up really quickly. As you can see, those are kind of like the two indicators that you can tell if your monstera is large or not. So this is definitely a large form. I don't think I'm gonna chop it up just because, I don't know, even though it doesn't have that much mint to it, I think once it becomes large and mature, it'll still look pretty. So I'm just gonna leave it be. It does desperately needs a repot. Oh my lord. Holy schmoly. That is a lot worse than the last time I saw it. The roots are literally circling the pot, so this needed to be upsized long ago. Next is my philodendron Florida Ghost. It's been in my window. I forgot which direction my window is. I want to say it's a north facing window, so the light is very low, and I used to get really nice ghosty leaves, but since it's been in the window, you can see the leaves are coming out green. This plant is very light, dependent on how minty it gets. I will probably have to change up the light conditions and place it somewhere else. Also, it was next to a maranta that was covered in mealybugs that I actually ended up having to throw away. Like, it was that covered in it. I did wash and spray down this plant about a week ago, and I don't see any, but you know, mealybugs are little sneaky pests, so I will still be checking to see if they're gonna come back or not. Same thing with this. It doesn't have that many roots because I've been keeping it really dry. I just kind of want to get it out of here, give it a new substrate, kind of change up the moss pole, and go from there. Next, we have my pink princess. It's a tissue culture. This is the marble galaxy variety of it. It has a lot of pups down at the bottom, as tissue culture plants tend to have. I think I just wanna take away all these plants because I think it's kind of drawing energy out of the main plant, and get it on a pole again. Well, kind of get it rooted into a pole, repot it, and see if I can grow some nice leaves, because this one does have nice variegation to it. Pretty much every single leaf has some pink in it. I know the hype for this plant is so over, but I don't know, I still like it. I don't think I'm ready to quite part with it yet, so I'm just gonna give it a makeover and see if that'll kind of reignite my enthusiasm for it. Last plant we want to tackle is another philodendron Florida. This is the Florida Beauty. Is that it? It's a Florida Beauty. I think these are called Florida Beauties. It's been so long since I've had to like talk about these plants, I totally forgot what they are. This one is very prone to reverting. I think that's why a lot of people don't have theirs anymore, is just because they got so tired of it reverting. The one that I got though is actually really nicely variegated. That's why I still want to keep it. This, I think I only got it as a one leaf cutting, and this was the initial leaf it gave me. This was the leaf that initially it came with. It could be a lot bigger. I'm not gonna lie, I've had this plant for quite a while. It just continues to put out some stunning leaves. I think, which one was my favorite leaf? I think this one might have been one of my favorites. It's so pretty. But honestly, it's given me so many nice leaves, and this is the newest one. The leaves are definitely getting quite mature now, and I just want to reattach it to its pole because it is definitely off its pole, and give it some new substrate and a new lease on life because I just think it deserves it. And once I get it growing well, I can probably take it downstairs and put it as a showpiece somewhere, since this one does tend to take up a lot of room just with its growth patterns and whatnot. We're going to be taking care of these 4 plants here. Unfortunately, there is going to be some moss pole chores involved, which I hate, but I don't think I'm going to end up keeping all of these on moss poles just because I just can't give the care that moss poles need. Anyway, that's the agenda for today. I am going to grab my moss poles because I actually forgot to do that. And when I see you back here, we will get started. All right, sorry guys. I totally meant to have 2 cameras, 2 viewpoints for this video. However, my memory card is acting up on the other camera and it's saying that it's full even though I deleted everything on it. So I'm gonna need to get down to the bottom of that. Unfortunately, that means we're just gonna have to continue with this main angle. I did try. We are gonna start off with YouTube channels first. And by the way, all of these channels that I'm gonna mention are not gonna be plant channels just because I feel like you guys know all the good channels by now. You guys don't need me to tell you which plant channels to watch. I think you guys have a good handle on that anyway. We're gonna talk about channels and other niches and keep it a little interesting. So the first channel I want to mention is an honorable mention. It is definitely a comfort channel, but I wouldn't say it's like my top comfort channel, and that is, I don't know if his channel has a name or if it's just his name. His name is Xander Budnick. He is Canadian and he has a great outdoors channel. So if you like camping, backpacking, being in nature, those types of things, I find his channel so soothing to watch. And I think just him as a person, he just seems like a really, really great person. Just a little bit of background on him. He used to be like a former model and he developed an addiction. I think he said it was drugs and alcohol. Basically, he was really unhappy and he started just going outdoors camping as fun, and he decided to record it, and you know, with no expectations. I think I started watching him when he had like less than 10,000 subscribers, which is quite insane because now he has over 1 million subscribers. So it's just really great to see his channel grow and just get so big like that, because I totally think that he deserves it 100%. Originally, he was just exploring like Canada, but now that he's gotten so big, he kind of travels around the world and does these trips and takes us along. I really love his channel. I think it's great. Let's just assess the root situation here. This is what it looks like. It's very, very dry indeed. I would not be surprised if there is, yeah, I already see like a lot of dry rot in the middle. However, there are still some pretty viable roots, so I'm just gonna take the moss pole off. We're gonna cut away all the dry rot and leave the roots that are good, and I think that should be fine. Again, these are pretty hardy plants, so I'm not that worried about them. That's my first one, honorable mention. Love his channel. And this is coming from a person that I do like being out in nature and camping. I think that's quite a lot of fun. However, I'm like a 2-day tops camping kind of person. Anything beyond 2 days, I just feel dingy and gross and like I really just need to go back home. I wish I wasn't like that. I wish I was more of like an outdoorsy kind of person. I mean, like I love hiking and being out in nature, but yeah, definitely not like a backpacker, that's for sure. I forgot how unpleasant dry moss in a moss pole is. Side note, have you seen all of the content around people not doing moss poles anymore? I think the most recent one I saw was Plants by Melissa. She just posted an upload not that long ago saying that she's gonna transition all of her plants off of moss poles, which is so crazy because she has so many moss poles. Honestly, I kind of agree in the sense that like it might get your plant to size up quicker if it's on a moss pole, but I don't think it's completely needed for a plant to grow and mature. And I think everyone can agree that they're just like a pain in the butt anyway. It's just kind of wild to see the tide shift away from moss poles. I'm still gonna keep like a couple in my collection, but no more than 3. I think like 3 is my max. Some of the roots that grew on the moss pole actually started rooting on the substrate. While I'm struggling with this, let's just go on to the first channel that I want to mention that is like 100% comfort channel is Goodnight Moon ASMR. I watch ASMR, you guys. I've been watching ASMR for years. I think it's coming up on like 10 years now. Some people might still think it's weird, and I totally get that. I don't watch all of it. There is some ASMR that I can't watch, but Goodnight Moon, she is just ultimate vibes, like autumnal vibes. Her channel is the best in fall, and she comes out with some of the best fall content to totally get you into the fall spirit. And funny enough, Erin, that's her name. So Erin actually lives in San Diego, which contributes towards why I like her channel so much, because I grew up in San Diego. I just find her content so comforting. She recently uploaded a tour of nature, what is it called, like a nature observatory. There's like a name for it that escapes me at the moment. And even if you're not into ASMR, just the way that she narrates is extremely calming. If you don't know what ASMR is, definitely Google it, because if you are just feeling anxious and you have trouble going to bed at night, I think ASMR is just a great tool to use. Just calms you down, helps you fall asleep. Okay, I finally got it untangled. In terms of, I think I might just pot it like as is, to be completely honest. Some of the roots might die off, some of them might be okay. We are just gonna go for it. Game plan for this, I think these are 6 inches and they have a really big drainage holes at the bottom, which is great because Phylos and Monstera don't really need to be all that damp. So probably what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna put all of this, which it was in pumice, I'm just gonna put it all on the bottom. Oh shoot, I need to introduce the moss pole. See, this is how out of practice I am with moss pole stuff. The thing that I always forget is to make it and then put it in the substrate and then put the substrate in. Okay, this is the correct order. So this is a moss pole which closes in the front. I got this from Bashma, Your Happy Plant, and I have a coupon code for 10% off. It will be in the description box if you are interested. I should have built these ahead of time. Looks like it bends. It bends like that, and then you just hook everything in the front. So that's what we're gonna do. By the way, this is the best LaCroix flavor guava. If you haven't tried it, you are missing out, my friend. You should definitely try it. You know what? Since it's much taller, I'm just gonna fill it with substrate a little bit more. I don't want to start the moss pole too low. I'm just gonna use the tree fern pond mix because why not? What was I saying before I got distracted? Goodnight Moon is definitely a comfort channel of mine. I will go ahead and link below in a comment that I'll pin all of the people and all of the stuff that I'm talking about. I will link specifically the tour of the observatory that she just did. Since we are a plant channel, I think you guys will get an extra kick out of that. Okay, I'm just gonna try to hook this in the front. This is when the second angle would have been handy, so sorry guys about that. Okay, I'm gonna put some substrate at the bottom of the pole. Next channel that I want to talk about. This channel is, I wouldn't say it's comforting to watch. I would say sometimes when you're feeling some type of way, it's a great reset on your brain. to be immersed in another perspective. And I think this channel very much accomplishes that. It literally makes you change your outlook on your life and makes literally all of the problems you have feel like they're not important at all. And that is Indigo Traveler. I'm trying to remember what his name is. I want to say it's Chris, but that might be totally wrong. Anyway, he is a travel channel and he basically travels to the places that people don't go. And he goes to like the not great parts of them either, like the parts where the majority of the world don't see. They're not tourist locations. He just tries to show you exactly how these people live. So he goes to Africa, Asia, and I think South America, all of those countries, and he just shows you exactly how people live, especially the people that are not well off in those countries live. You can just get so like bogged down in your everyday problems that you think that's all that matters, when in reality, when you watch his content, you then realize the problems that I'm having are nowhere near the magnitude of the problems that these people have. And I think everyone needs to see how other people live, especially in third world developing countries. Like that kind of stuff, the stuff that he shows on his channel, you do not see anywhere else. It's certainly not going to be on the news that you watch and all of that. So I think he just does such a great job in capturing that. I will say what he does, not a lot of people should do, because like these situations that he sometimes gets himself in, like recording in these countries and just recording a lot of like the corruption with the police and everything, it's definitely sketchy. He is a travel channel that you just don't see very often, and although it might not be exactly comforting to see that, I think everybody should. I want to pack in the moss pretty tight because that'll help it not dry out quite as much. I'm so out of practice with moss poles. This leaf fell off, which I kind of had a feeling it would because it's all white anyway. So I think this plant is pretty much all done. I have all of the roots submerged. I think I'm gonna add one more scoop near the front. We'll see how it does. I will do all of the watering off camera just to save some time. This is the first one, and this is my Florida Beauty variegated. And that's what it looks like. And you don't even need to tape it onto the pole because that's what these tabs in the front do. So pretty ingenious if you ask me. I'm just gonna grab this one because it's the closest one to me. This is the Monstera Mint. We're gonna launch into the next channel. That is my comfort channel. So I am gonna butcher her name. I'm so sorry. She says her name so beautifully and I am not gonna say it like that. So her name is Siobhan Breer Aguilar. Again, so sorry for butchering that, any people who speak Spanish. This is a little bit of an unconventional pick, and I believe our channel is fairly new in the sense that it doesn't have a lot of subscribers. I mean, like still way more than my channel for sure, but I think I first subscribed to her maybe the beginning of this year, so it's been fairly recent, or perhaps the end of 2024. She does really thoughtful pop culture commentary. She's a writer, and so she will write out an essay, do like a talk essay format on pop culture stuff. And usually I'm not like one for Hollywood gossip, but I think the way that she approaches it is just so nuanced, and she'll pick an article that has been published and she'll basically go through the background of the drama that we're talking about, and then she'll go into like the article. So it's like a combination of an English class mixed with pop culture stuff, mixed with, at the end, she'll always add her opinion on the matter, and she'll always loop it back to what this tells us as a people community. Like, why do we care about these kinds of things? I don't know. It's so hard to describe what she does, but okay, I am gonna need to forcefully remove this plant out of here because this is not happening. This is gonna be painful. Oof. Ay. That was a journey. Okay, what do we have here? A lot of small roots from when it was probably a plug. and then just like a lot of really big roots where the aerial roots grew into the substrate. Going back to her, I believe the most recent upload she did was on the Ariana Grande scandal. If you guys really don't follow up on that, she basically like stole somebody's husband. Not only did she steal somebody's husband, his wife just had a baby and he left her for Ariana Grande. So this person's wife, who basically had her husband leave her for Ariana Grande, came out with an article. This creator just does the most thoughtful commentary on it, and it takes another angle at pop culture that isn't so, oh my God, did you hear about this? I don't know. I just really love her approach to it. And I was a big into English when I was in high school. I loved to write. And so hearing her talk about the writing and all that stuff just kind of takes me back a little bit. Yeah, I just love what she makes, and she has just a lot of good points. This is what the roots look like. Again, they're dirty because of the tree fern fiber. It was like in a tree fern pond mix, so that's just why they're black, not because they're rotted. There are actually some good roots here, but there are also some rotty roots. So I'm gonna move this aside, and I'm just gonna chop off the ones that did rot off. Okay, so it seems like most of the roots are fine. I have no idea what I'm gonna do about this. Maybe I'll like try to rewind it. Ugh, I don't know. Okay, we'll see. So the pot I want to use for this is probably going to be our biggest pot because I know it'll grow into this in no time. I think this is an 8-inch. It's a big boy pot. Large farm monsteras really don't need a moss pole because they'll size up on their own. I think this is how we're going to do it. And we're gonna fill her up, not the entire way. As the plant grows, we'll just continue filling it in. And no moss pole, no support, doesn't need it. Oh, was this in your view frame this entire time? I hope not. Sorry, I just realized my mic might have been in the frame this entire time. Next creator I want to talk about, I'm sure you guys have heard of because she's got millions of followers, and that's Jana Yinten. I hope I'm saying that right. I'm not Swedish. I believe they say their J's like Y's. So sorry to anyone who's from Sweden and happens to be watching this. She's the type of person that you watch and you're just like, why am I the way that I am when people like her exist? It's hard to imagine like she's ever been mean to a person ever. The comments on her videos are some of the nicest comments I've ever seen. Like, there is not a shred of toxicity in the people that watch her. So I watch every single upload she does. Not only is she a great person, she lives on this property that's just a dream. It's isolated. She has all of these lakes and forests. The way that she captures things, she's so good with cameras and she's so artistic. Like, she's an artist. That's her thing, is she does art. She also has jewelry that she makes. She is literally just an angel and so talented. It really makes you feel bad about yourself, but her content is literally the best. Some of the best I've ever seen on YouTube. So if you haven't watched her, again, I'm sure all of you have, but please do. So this is my Monstera mint. Got a really big pot, so hopefully I won't have to repot it anytime soon. And we're just gonna let the aerial roots do the work for us to provide support for the plant and dig into the substrate, and hopefully the leaves will get bigger, maybe more variegated. That would be nice. So this one's done. So we're gonna be moving on to the Florida Ghost. This one I think I zip tied, so let me cut the zip tie. Okay, hopefully this one comes out a bit better. I'm just gonna empty it in here since there's not that much substrate left. The video that I want to add though, there's a specific video that she's done that is just so good. I remember watching it, and if you ever have a moment where you doubt humanity, like really doubt people and think what happened to all of the kind, nice people, to people treating each other like human beings, like if you ever have one of those moments, I urge you to watch this video. It is the best display of human kindness I have ever seen, and literally when I first watched this video, it made me tear up. That's just how beautiful. It makes you believe in good people again. It is a compilation of her subscribers answering a question, and she made this video, you know, like people turned in their responses and she made the most beautiful video. There we go. We have some rotty roots in the middle. So let me just move this aside as I try to remove this. So the question that she posed to her viewers is, if you could say something to 4 million people, what would it be? And she did this because she hit 4 million, I think, back then. And yeah, this video is just, oh my God, it's amazing. I'm not going to go on and on about it because words cannot adequately describe it. Some of the things that people have said just warms your heart. I might just snip all of the smaller roots away. Hopefully there's some good roots in the pole, but I'm not sure. I just murked this leaf. There is actually some good roots in here. That's shocking. Let me just get all of this off and then we'll be back. I have a new pot with some leca on it, and I have successfully extricated the Florida ghost from the moss pole. Before I make this cut, I just want to explain what I'm doing. All of these here are the aerial roots that grew into the moss pole, and they are still good. I kind of like cut a couple of them just to make sure. All of these rotty roots on the bottom, we're just gonna get rid of them. I'm gonna make the cut probably here. Hopefully you can see that. Just snip it. All of this is gone. We don't need any of that. I am not going to keep this on a moss pole anymore. I'm just going to support it with an acrylic stake because it's been sizing up well and it's been off of that pole for a long time anyway. And I'm also going to do something different. I'm going to change up the substrate. Instead of the tree fern, I'm going to do the orchid bark moss perlite mix just to see how it does with a different genus. Just curious, why not? So I told you guys about Yona. Next channel I want to mention is Special Books by Special Kids, SBSK. The person who makes the content, his name is Chris, and now this just convinces me that the other guy's name is probably not Chris, and that's who I was thinking about when I said Chris. So Chris basically interviews people. It's mostly children, but there are adults that he will go to talk to as well who have a disability. It's like such a variety of conditions that he covers. A lot of them you might have not even have heard of before. And it's just the questions that he asks and how he interacts with their parents and the kids themselves are just so, what's the right word that I'm thinking about? Maybe like refreshing to see a person who is not disabled interact so normally to people who are. And this is something that is still a little bit not talked about. I don't want to say taboo in our society, but I don't think people are taught as children how to interact with people who have a disability. You know, it's just kind of the hush hush, don't talk about them kind of thing. And I don't think that's like the right way to teach your kids on how to interact with people who do have a disability. I think there are better ways to go about it. And part of what he does is he like asks these people, either their parents or the kids themselves, if they're able to speak and communicate, how they prefer people talk to them and interact with them and ask questions. And I think that's so valuable to know as a person. So the next time you might be placed in that, you know how to conduct yourself. I bring this to attention when I say that I wish more people kind of, okay, this stake is way off center. Okay, this plant is just gonna have to be off center. And why I say this is such an important thing to know for people how to interact with people with a disability is because I know how it feels like. I thought about this and I trust you guys. I feel like you guys will understand this. I don't think I would ever share this if I were like brand new on YouTube. We've come a long way and now is the time to share something personal about me that I have not been talking about at all on this channel that you may or may not have noticed. This might come as a complete shock to you, which I understand, because I purposely have made it that way, that you guys don't know this about me, but I actually have a disability. I stutter, and I edit my videos in a way that you do not know that I stutter. But this is a thing that I've basically had to deal with since I could speak, and I unfortunately didn't grow out of my stutter as a child. I am an adult person who stutters, and Chris, has brought on kids and adults who have my disability, and it's very eye-opening to see other people and their experiences and how they were also treated. This condition is just a thing that's not really discussed that much. I've thought about doing like a whole, maybe not like a Q&A, but just sharing my experience with my stutter, just so maybe other people know how to talk to somebody who stutters, because I feel like not everybody does it the right way. I've definitely had a lot of experiences in my life with people that could have gone better. So yeah, that's what I want to share, is I have a stutter, and I am thankful that it's not a severe one. Sometimes it can get quite noticeable, usually like public speaking, but if I'm just talking to a camera, I will have to edit around it. And so, I'm curious if you guys clocked me, comment down below. So far, no one has commented asking that question, but I'm just curious if you guys knew and you just didn't want to mention it. That is a thing that I've been keeping this entire time. So I actually feel a lot better now that it's out there. I don't feel like I'm hiding anything, because I kind of felt like I was hiding that before. Oh, by the way, this is amazing tape. It's really good for adhering plants to plastic. The person that I saw use this first was Charmaine on Unplant Parenthood. I believe that's her handle. Yeah, but SBSK, really great channel if you just want to expose yourself to other people's life experiences with a disability. It is a thing that, again, I think is overlooked in our society, and just because somebody doesn't act, walk, talk, go about their life the same way that you do, doesn't mean that they deserve any less. And I think his channel makes that abundantly clear. It's definitely an important channel to watch, 100%. Okay, so I potted this plant kind of deep because I don't want to repot it again soon. So it's filled all the way to the top. I have a pretty tall stake in the middle. And so as this plant grows, I will just continue. Hopefully you can see the tape there. I will just continue to tape it up, and hopefully this will help the leaves mature and grow bigger. I'm also probably going to put it on a shelf back here if it'll fit, or somewhere in this plant room that it'll get a lot more light, and we'll try out this mix on a phyllo and see how it does, which I'm sure it'll do great. I don't really see why not. But yeah, this is the Florida Ghost. All right, we're down to our last plant, and it's the Pink Princess. Let me make this off camera. Moth pole is built. Let's take this out. There's not like a lot of roots coming off the bottom, so this should be easier, hopefully. I'll go ahead and do it over here. So that is the last YouTube channel that is kind of like my comfort channel, that either changes my perspective on things, or I just think more people should watch these channels. The next thing that I want to go into is I want to mention a very specific episode on a show. Surprisingly, that's Euphoria. You can actually watch this episode without knowing that much about the show and still really get a lot out of it. And that is their Christmas episode. And it kind of surprises me, because people who have watched all of the 2 seasons that are out still might not have seen the Christmas episode, because I don't know if it was like advertised all that much. It kind of came out right around COVID. It was filmed during COVID when everything was locked down. The title of the episode, and let me see if I get this right, is Trouble Don't Last Always. It is basically a dialogue between Rue, the main character, and her sponsor, and it deals with so much. It covers so much in the hour that the episode is, and you would think it would be boring because it's literally just 2 people talking in a diner, but the script and the writing and the acting is just so phenomenal in that specific episode that I've seen this episode like 5 times. I just will occasionally rewatch it when I really want to feel something, and I always get something new out of it. That's how good the writing is. Now, of course, it goes over her addiction, her drug addiction, but it also just deals with so many heavy subjects are mentioned in that. I will probably say, please look up the trigger warnings for that episode because they do go over a lot of heavy things. And if you're okay to watch it, it's just so well done. I will leave just a clip, like a snippet of the episode down below. You don't have to watch the show to like understand that episode. That's Euphoria, Trouble Don't Last Always. Again, I will add a clip of it that you can watch on YouTube below. It's fantastic, will really make you think. There's a lot of roots in this pole. That's actually good. Yeah, I'm not keeping all of the baby plants. I don't need like 5 of these. Let me start taking plants off. So here's one. I'm gonna feel a little bad not keeping some of these. I don't need these many pink princesses. There's a 3rd one. Oh my god, there's a 4th one. A 5th one. What in the tissue culture is going on here? What? Okay, I think that's all. Yeah, 5. There were 5 plants. Holy crap. I think that's fine. So this is kind of what we're working with here. We got another one of these, and we're gonna do tree fern pond. Okay, next thing I want to say is a total comfort show of mine, and yes, the whole show, the whole, I think 2 seasons, is Fleabag. And I know what you're thinking, Fleabag is a really weird name for a show, and that's completely what I thought until I started watching the show. And I will say, the humor in it is English humor. It's very dry and sarcastic, and that is completely up my alley in the beginning. When I started watching the show, I was a little bit like, okay, what did I get myself into? But after like a couple of the episodes, it's totally fine. Writing, phenomenal. Acting, phenomenal. It is so laugh out loud funny. I have laughed so much watching the show. I need to rewatch it. Season 2 was probably even better than season 1, which when a show does that, you know it's a really good show. I will leave the therapy scene from season 2 down below if you just want like a little taste of the comedy that goes on in that show, because again, deals with very heavy subjects. The dialogue between characters, it's just, oh god, it's so good. There's really no way to even describe what the show is about. You're just gonna have to go into it not knowing anything and watching it, but the therapy scene slays me every single time I watch it. If you need a laugh, please watch the clip that I'm gonna link down below, because it's just, oh god, it's so good. So I got the pole situated. Let's put some substrate down here. We are going to move on to one of the songs that I've been recently replaying. How I found out about this song is there was a song that played in one of the episodes, one of the really sad episodes that I just haven't been able to get out of my head, and it's called Forever Young. It's actually a cover. It's a Bob Dylan song initially, and the cover is by an artist named Audra May. I just love what she does to the song. Again, I love anything that's happy and sad at the same time, and the cover is so good. When I was trying to find it on YouTube, I saw it uploaded, and people in the comment section were saying how they played this song for the funeral of their loved ones. That just goes to show you how beautiful the song is too, and how much meaning there is to it. Sometimes changing your emotion, like if you're angry or irritated, hearing a song that's very meaningful and sad, but also in a I'm so glad we had these times together kind of way, is exactly what you need. And I think this song and this cover knocks it out of the park when you're in that kind of mood. It's just a song that I've kept coming back to. So I think we're gonna leave it there in terms of all of the things that might help cheer you up or change your perspective or try to get you out of a mood. I think that there's a lot of good stuff that I mentioned that you guys should definitely check out. And if you do, please let me know what you thought of it. Or if you have any suggestions of your own, either it be channels, shows, songs that just really do it for you. I am all open to being exposed to other things because I'm sure that there's a lot more out there. That's gotta be good enough because I'm frankly tired of doing these moss pulls. Now I've hit my limit. Okay, here we go. This is what the pink princess looks like, and we'll see how she does, if she does better, worse. The jury will be out on that one. Let me clean this up. We'll come back with all the plants and end out the video. Okie dokie, so we're all done. These 4 plants actually took a while, but it would have been less time had I not been yapping. That being said, if you made it all the way to the end, I commend you. This was a lot to get through, not because moss pole chores are boring, because I think I was a little bit scatterbrained in this one too. Anyway, hope you guys have a lovely day and I will see you in the next one. Bye.